Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Very quick video. I tend to be less than 10 minutes, and I hope I do. But I wanted to show, let me count 7 aircraft, or even a little bit more to be honest, but 7 normally, 7 additions that we can see in the soonish future, actually, this year or next year, since the Gripen is confirmed. 6 aircraft, 7 aircraft, or even 8 to be honest, that can be, you know, considered counters to a 4+ or something like the Gripen. So aircraft that we will probably see some of these being added along this year or most definitely next year. So let's start. It's just a quick list, so for you can always, I'm not gonna mention too much about them, so you can always research them. And for the love of God, of course, a disclaimer here. I mean, just because I'm saying that an aircraft has early A120s, it doesn't mean that it never shot anything else. Okay? Obviously, it can have more advanced stuff. But do you really think Ajude will add a meteor missile right now? No, they will not. So, yeah, just a disclaimer because people tend to, I don't know. Anyway. Let's start with the US and the Israelis. I think one of them is actually pretty straightforward. The F-16C, something like a Block 50 or 52. Remember, there's a lot of people that, I don't know why, forget about this, but the Block 50 is not a 2020 aircraft, okay? Yes, they are using it right now with a lot of upgrades, but it is a 1991 aircraft, okay? So it's a very old aircraft. And it can have upgrades to actually be comparable to something like the Gripen. So yeah, the Block 50 obviously for the US, because the Israelis never used the Block 50, only the 52. The main difference there would be the engine, obviously, the Pratt & Whitney engine on the 52, and on the 50 would be the GE F110 engine, so that would be a little bit different. Normally, of course, it can be added maybe with some upgrades and stuff, but at least initially, it would be carrying 6 missiles. Normally, with the better APG-68, it can be a very good raider. And being A120s, very early A120s, A's, B's, C's, initial C's, right? A9s, you know, A9Ms or something like that. It would be the, or even the L, even depending on what the Gripen gets, right? So that would be basically the counter for the US and the Israelis for the Gripen. For the USSR, I'm going to jump Germany, UK, and Italy for now, but the USSR has basically 3 options. The MiG-29M, the MiG-29K, these are, I'm talking about the 931 and the 915, I think it is, which are the 80s versions, the 80s prototypes, you know, not the modern ones. Or the MiG-29 SMT. The M and the K would be not a full PESA raider, you know, but it would still be able to use 8 missiles, R-77s and R-73s and stuff, so it would be very, very competitive. More fuel, just overall better performance in everything. The fly-by-wire was fully digitalized with full FADEC control as well in the engines, so it would just be a very modern MiG-29, right? But of course, if they don't want to add a prototype, they can always add the MiG-29 SMT. The advantage on the SMT over the M and the K from the 80s is that it would be having a full PESA radar. So that would be a very good thing. So basically instant detection, right? And very good ranges on those radars. Of course, the main drawback is that it is a little bit heavier on most of the fatback models. And also, it is a modernization of the original 912 and 913, so it only has 6 missiles. So yeah, but of course it could carry the R-77 initially. Obviously later it can receive better missiles and other stuff, but initially it can have that. There were some prototypes with the normal like body of the SMT, so they can add that as well. It would be basically the same aircraft as the 912, but with a PESA radar and just overall better missiles, right? Then we go for Japan. Japan is actually a very interesting one. The F2, the Mitsubishi F2, a lot of people talk about this, but this aircraft actually has a very good BVR weaponry, but it would have a drawback. The Raider specifically would be very, I mean, just amazing. IASA Raider, the first in the world to actually use IASA, even though it's not that different from PESA, but still, it is the first on the world for that. It can carry apparently 8 missiles, and it would carry the AM4s and the AM9s or AM3s. The problem is that the AM4 might be too OP to be added initially, so we don't know. I don't know if it can actually carry the AM20, and I don't think they ever used the AM20, just the AM4. But it is basically an AM20 that has more range. It is than the initial ones, I mean, right? It is comparable in time framing stuff to the more advanced like C7, I think, AM20. So yeah, of course, it's a very advanced missile, or at least the C5, I don't know. So it would already be comparable to that. So I don't know if this is going to be added anyway. And maybe they can add the AM20 just for the sake of it, the initial ones, just to not be too OP, but still. But the main drawback of this aircraft is the thrust to weight. Even though it turns better than the original F-16Cs that we are going to see in the US, and the Raider is better than the Raider on the Block 50s of the F-16C, it is still, the thrust to weight would be lowered. So on the Block 50, it's supposed to have around 1.05 to 1.09, something like that of a thrust to weight, while the F2 would have basically 0.99. So yeah, there is that. It would have better stuff in some areas and worse stuff in others. For the Chinese, it has a very, very interesting option. The J-10A, 6 missiles, PL-12s, and just overall very good missiles, PL-8s as well, which is the Python 3, PL-10s. Just an overall very good aircraft. It is based off of the La Vie, if you know the La Vie, apparently, supposedly. And it is just a very, very good aircraft. I mean, it is a light aircraft, the same as the other ones. More advanced versions even have PESA radars. Apparently, according to some sources, the initial J-10As have a very similar technology from the initial Zooks on the radars, so it is probably similar to the MiG-29M and K in range and detection and other stuff like that. So yeah, could be a counter to that as well. Very good performance, overall very good engine. I mean, it has a Sukhoi engine, so I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Anyway, it is just overall a very good aircraft. For the French, obviously, Mirage 2000-5. I think the Rafale will have to wait a little bit, and I don't know, maybe we will see the Mirage 2000 coming earlier, and then after the Gripen is added, we will see the initial Rafales, but still, Mirage 2000-5 should be okay initially to counter the Gripen anyway. I mean, you would have the Mika missiles. Apparently, it could carry 6 missiles, so between IRs and EMs, so Fox 3 missiles as well, very good ranges. Just overall a very good missile. Of course, it can carry the Magic 2s as well. Just overall a better version of the Mirage 2000. It doesn't change too much on the aircraft per se, you know, but it changes the internals, right? So the radar is a better radar, the missiles are better, the avionics are better, everything like that is better. The aircraft itself obviously will be very similar to the normal Mirage 2000C that we have, right? And last but not least, Germany, the UK, and Italy have a problem. The Eurofighter 2000 is the most problematic one because I think even the initial ones will already be kind of better than the Gripen. But since we are seeing the Gripen C, which is basically from the same era as the Eurofighter, I can certainly confirm that, I just trust that the Eurofighter, if the Gripen C is added, will shortly afterwards be added. It is already confirmed as well by Ismin that it will take a little bit of more time to the Eurofighter and the Rafale to come after the Gripen. So, but I wouldn't think that it would take too much time to be added, because the Germans, the UK, and Italy, they don't have anything beyond the Eurofighter to counter something like the Gripen. The Germans will only receive the ICE. The UK will only receive the Tornado ADV with maybe some Fox 3s, but that's it. And the Italians also have only the Tornado ADV. They can receive the M120s on the F-16 that they have, but still, that's pretty much it. So the Eurofighter will have to be the counter to something like the Gripen. So yeah, but it is, probably going to be added as one of the earliest versions of it, and most sources claim that it can use 8 missiles, being 4 AIM-9s, for example, and then 4 AIM-20s. Depends on the country, depends on the year frame. It can carry other missiles like the IDST and others, meteors and stuff in the future. But initially, we would probably just see AIM-9s, AIM-20s. But yeah, guys, basically that's it. I do think that they're going for a light fighter floor plus generation aircraft instead of the heavy fighters for now, apparently. But we will need to wait. I don't work at the Gaijin, so I have no idea what they're doing. But it is exciting to wonder about these aircraft, okay? Let me know in the comments what are the aircraft that you are waiting the most to counter the Gripen. And I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. See you.